This is Good Morning San Diego.
Manhattan's district attorney has agreed to postpone Donald Trump's sentencing in his bookkeeping case. Criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj now joins us to discuss what this means for the case moving forward. All right, welcome back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I always enjoy chatting with you. Let's answer that question. What does it mean? It was indefinitely postponed. Is this going to just disappear into the Ethernet?
You know, we're dealing with politicians. We're dealing with prosecutors, but elected politicians that said, hey, I want this job because I'm going to go after Joe Schmo. And that Joe Schmo was Donald Trump. It was the soup du jour. Prosecutors from around the country raised allegations against Trump and the Trump administration because that was popular at the time. That got people to vote for you at the time. Well, after the election on November 5, it's not as popular anymore. So what I see here reading between the lines is it would be a tall task to ask this prosecutor to wave the white flag in front of everyone right now and say, you know what, our attempt didn't work. We missed the free throw. Sorry, let's all go our separate ways. That's not what a politician's going to do, prosecutor or not. So what we have is a slow death. This is going to simmer into oblivion until finally, when it's not that big of a deal and more people, even more people are supporting then defendant, now President-elect Trump, they're going to say, you know what, enough, DA, let it go.
Well, let's just work through them. There were 4 big cases against him.
Yes.
Jack Smith is retiring. Those cases are going to disappear. Atlanta, we have to just find out if DA Willis, or whatever her title is, Fannie Willis, if she's going to even survive in civilian life. She might even end up doing time or being reprimanded. So what's left? Is the lawfare over?
It is. I mean, practically it is. There are some procedural steps that you eloquently point out, including the Court of Appeals in New York behind the civil case that still hasn't been resolved there. These cases are going to fizzle away. And the reason why we know that's going to happen is because if you look at least 2 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 5 potential allegations that were out there and filed in a court, in an active court, it takes an extraordinary amount of mental gymnastics and legal gymnastics to even find a cause of action. It's almost as though a first-year law student went into class and the professor said, hey, find a crime here. And because it's so weak, we cannot be surprised when these cases die.
Which brings us back to the story that was running before us, Matt Gaetz as AG. The reason why there's such blowback is because he has an axe to grind. And if he's in that position, there could actually be repercussions for DAs and judges, right? Is there not that possibility?
There is that possibility, and that's why I believe so many people are scared, frankly, of Matt Gaetz. He does have an axe to grind. He was part of an investigation that was unfounded. No wrongdoing was found by any tribunal or anyone judging the facts. But his reputation was smeared. He had to resign from Congress and take other moves in his life. Thankfully now President Trump has appointed him or selected him to be the next Attorney General. If I were on the other side, if I were part of the deep actors within the Department of Justice who targeted him and made his life miserable, I sure would be worried, as I would be if I were not a practitioner of judicious application of the law.
Yeah, because I don't know that he's going to take the high road and let it all slide. He's going to eye for an eye, I think he comes off as.
Well, what's the high road, Paul? You say the high road.
Well, I mean, letting it slide and just not and just moving on in life.
That's not the high road, in my opinion. I respect that opinion. I think you're right in a certain respect, but that's the low road. A lawman, the Attorney General, should not play favorites. If there's a violation of the law, that needs to be investigated and prosecuted.
Point taken. I'll acquiesce to that opinion. Your thoughts about now, because it was always very popular to say when the election was going on that Mr. Trump was a 34-time, felony criminal. Can we say that anymore?
You can't. In federal, you can't. In state, you can. There's a different way of actually addressing that calculation. The sentence is not final in state unless a person says, hey, you have now been sentenced and the felony convictions are there. On the federal side, when we're talking about federal court, the convictions coming down from the jury are enough. So there's a bit of a discrepancy in how you interpret convictions. Generally speaking, though, practically speaking, unless the person is sentenced the convictions are not permanent. And even when a person is sentenced, the appeals have to be exhausted before one can say this is a final decision of felony convictions.
So how's the J6 stuff going to play out now? Once Mr. Trump takes office and is President Trump again, or drops the elect from his title,
yes.
Will all those people that are right now doing time or behind bars, will he pardon all those folks?
He'll either pardon, but he'll definitely immediately release. All of them have not gone into court and had their case adjudicated. He's made it very clear, as have others, that this was a political prosecution, a lot of collateral damage. He'll release them immediately. Those who have been convicted, we can expect pardons in short order.
25 years from now, when we're looking back on this period of our society and politics and the legal system, what's going to be the final verdict? What was thought was going to be the coup de grace to put a stake through the heart of Donald Trump actually might have helped him get reelected.
You know, this is a very interesting question that you're bringing up. This is an evidence of our system actually working. It may take appellate courts, it may take somebody going through the doldrums of life, society, stress, family life being ruined, but it takes a unique actor like President Trump to display the success of our system. We have checks and balances. Many other countries, and even some states, let's say within our union, don't have that check and balance. So once there's a lower court decision or a tribunal of conviction, that's all she wrote. Our system works. It took a long time to have the system work, but shorter than other appeals. But it's a good example of not having too much uncurtailed discretion.
But it took a billionaire to do it. I mean, like, the average Joe could not fight this fight.
That's absolutely right. And you see a lot of people in custody, and those who may not even be in custody, that have convictions because they don't have the hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars and the mental fortitude to fight these issues.
I would love to know what the final legal tab is. It's insane. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vic, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
We have to
pleasure.
roll
Thank
on.
you.